Hello everyone, my name is Ruby Cervantes and I will be going over my PowerPoint on reading comprehension strategies from our lesson 10. My PowerPoint goes more in depth, but I will just talk about my strategies and how I would use it with the story I'm going to read. The first strategy is making inferences. And I will demonstrate to my students with the book The Junkyard Wonders. I have picked the words special classes from page 2 and the word junkyard from page 4. They will connect their past knowledge about the connection of the words. They will be able to understand the main character's feelings and understand the story. The three main inference questions is what do I already know, what text clues are important, and what is the author trying to present. So when I asked my students these questions, they're gonna give me various answers, and I have narrowed it down to, for the first question, what do I already know? A special class is a class for different special needs / disability students. In the book, it just states special classes, but my students from prior knowledge would know this, and we would talk about this if they're confused, or we want to make sure they know. The main character did not like to be in her last special class. From reading the book, in the first page right off the bat, we get this, that she does not like her last class. The second question is, which text clues are important? I do not like this word at all, but the book has it and says she feels dumb in her last class. And I feel like that is very important for this book, because even though it's an ugly word and I don't like to use that word, this is very important because that's the way she felt from her prior classes, from prior experiences, and this book makes her feelings really change. But anyways, the second one, she did not feel accepted in her last school. Okay, we know from reading the book at the beginning, she doesn't want her peers to know that she was in a special class. She did not feel accepted at the other class. She feels the new school will give her a new experience. So she meets this little girl that's her friend, and she thinks that she's gonna have a different experience, that it's gonna be different for her. And the last question is, what is the author trying to present? How different experiences impact students. I feel that was a very big message for this book. It didn't never stated details or anything from her past school, but by reading the book, we knew that she did not have a good experience, and how other students / friends' action impact the students. Her last experience, we could tell that she did not have friends. She didn't feel accepted. But by her new experience in this school, we see by reading it that she connects right off the bat, and it's very different. Okay, the next strategy is comprehension monitoring. And when we monitor comprehension, we ask questions. For example, do I understand what I'm reading? What doesn't make sense? And what strategies can I use? In this book, I will use page 6 and page 17, and I will make sure students understand the word junkyard. I will ask these questions. What is junkyard? Does the main character know? And possible answers would be, it is a special education class, and she feels she didn't at first, but as soon as she meets the teacher and other students, she realizes it. The next question is, what does the student feel at the beginning? How does she feel at the end? Okay, Trisha and the students, they feel at first when the teacher calls their classroom junkyard, they feel like, okay, like, why are we being called junkyard? We don't, they thought that didn't go with the whole school. They thought they didn't fit in. They thought, okay, well, we don't work. They have a disability, so we don't work. So that's how they felt at the beginning. Even though Tom was very positive and helped Trisha, they felt that way. They didn't understand the teacher at first. By the end of the story, they all understand that they are still talented. They feel accepted. It was a very, very different. They felt very different towards it. And the last question is, how does the main character's feelings evolve about herself or the class? And my answer would be, in the beginning, she didn't like being classified in the special class. She wanted to be normal, but as the book advanced, she started to accept herself and her class. By then, she was able to experience the Junkyard wonders, and they were very special and talented. So I would ask these questions to my students so I could assess them, the comprehension, and they could, by their answers, I could assess that they're getting the story. And this could be done in the middle or at the end. Okay, the next strategy is visualizing. Visualizing is making a mental picture in your head. It helps students make connections, stay engaged, and improve comprehension. When visualizing, ask questions. What do I already know? Which details create pictures in my mind, and how can my sense put me in the story? I will use page 9 and 13 with my students. On page 9, the first example, I will tell my students to close their eyes and imagine looking into the telescope and to describe what they may see. The teacher tells they go at night and they look into a telescope. The book just shows a little bit of it, but this is a good opportunity to tell my students, okay, well, what do you see? How many, how do you picture the stars? And my second example would be on page 13. And this one could be, they can quickly sketch a junkyard and add hidden things like the class did. In this one, it could be something at their desk, or it could be even you have prepared beforehand, like handing them out quickly a little piece of notebook paper. Or another thing could be dry erase markers. And I quickly jotted down. I do not know how to draw, but this is, a junkyard, as you could see, but I just quickly did it. And it could be and they're gonna have different examples. They're gonna have different things that they think is important, like different, for example, a broken guitar they could fix, anything like the class did. I love this strategy because I feel that there's no wrong answer. They have so much imagination that they could use, and you could assess their comprehension too. I mean, if you know that they don't even know what junkyard means, a real junkyard, not the classroom. But if they don't know what a junkyard means, then there's the time to really explain. The next strategy is summarizing. Summarizing is telling the main idea of the story in your own words, but leaving your opinion out. To summarize a story, you need to include the story elements such as setting, the main characters, the problem, the solution. It is a strategy to better understand the text, using less words to describe the most important part of the story. And I have used a chart in my PowerPoint. I have used the chart somebody, wanted, but, so, how, and then. Okay. In my example above, I used the pages 1 through 10 on the first column and the pages 4 through 17 in the second column. To summarize I summarized it by using somebody, wanted, but, so, and then. Okay, so the first example, somebody, who is the main character? Well, it's Trisha. Wanted, what did the main character want? She wanted to be in a normal classroom. But what was the problem? In her new school, she was put into a special classroom again. So, how did the main character try to solve the problem? She told her dad that she wanted to be able to sit with her friends. She didn't accept it. So she wanted her dad input and thought that it was going to change, and she thought by going to this new school it was going to be different. And then, what was the resolution? The resolution was she realized that her classmates and her were also talented, and she learned to accept it. She learned to accept herself. Okay, then the second example is from pages 4 through 17. And somebody who is the main character is the teacher, Miss Peterson. What did the main character want? She wanted her students to accept themselves and see their potential. But what was the problem? Her students didn't see that they were talented and that they were capable of anything. So she showed them. And the next one is, so how did the main character try to solve the problem? She made them understand why the classroom was called the Junkyard and gave them a project so she can prove it. She impacted them by showing her, not just, right off the bat, she actually went and showed them. What was the resolution? How her students understood just how special and talented they were. Okay, and my third example is my own summary. After I give this strategy to my kids, to my students, they were able to summarize it. They were able to, even like I just did the two examples. I summarized part of the story and I summarized another part of the story with different characters. But my third example is my own summary. And I summarized it. In this story, Junkyard Wonders, Trisha is very excited because she will be entering a new school. She thinks that in this new school, she will be accepted. She soon discovers that in her new school, she's also in a special class and doesn't understand why her teacher calls it the Junkyard. She feels more out of place, but soon starts to make new friends and starts connecting with them. Miss Peterson explains the reason their classroom is called the Junkyard and even takes them to one literally. Then there they discover hidden wonders and are asked to work on restoring them, or their inventions. They soon discover their abilities and talents and understand their teacher's hidden message. Trisha at the end learns to accept her special friends and herself and is proud of them. So at the end, she understands the message and she understands to accept herself. So in this way, my students are going to be able to